A very warm welcome back to Sugo. We're in the northeast of Japan at the Sugo International Racing Circuit in the Miyagi Prefecture. First time Asia Road Racing Championship has come here. Tell you what, with the action we've had so far, we will be back because it has been exhilarating. Next up, we've got the Super Sports 600cc Championship. Let's have a look at yesterday's action. Highlights from race one of the Super Sport 600 in drying weather. There was some concern amongst the racers whether or not they'd be able to get things off okay, but there was a problem for Helmi Asman, the championship leader. He had to start from the pit lane, but up ahead of him, Andy Farid Izdahar and the Kota Arakawa, they were the two who got away. Problems for Ramdan Rosli as well. But the front two, Barry Russell, Arakawa and Andy Farid, they gave us a real good old scrap up at the front.
Yeah, they sure did. Kota ultimately has been untouchable this weekend. Andy Farid has done an admirable job given his lack of experience at the track, but you can see just how strong he is as a competitor from his performance. I've called him as my rider of the weekend, and you can see it here. Also, Kito Abe, number 51 there. He's new to the championship, not new to this circuit, but he performed very well, giving Andy Farid a hard time and eventually finishing in P3.
Having had given a real effort though, Andy Farid would find himself very much playing second fiddle and having to battle against Kito Abe, who, as you say, will be a very, very good addition to the championship. Behind them, Chip Nakarin, Ajri Hakim and Irfan Ardiansa, they had themselves a really good battle as well into looking for P3. And this is a case of Chip Nakarin at this stage being pushed out by Ajroy Hakim Anwar on the Boonshu Honda, but he would come through and get P4, Chip Nakarin.
Yeah, he looked promising in the early stages, but didn't have the pace of the leaders, and there goes.
That was the wild card who just got himself heavily involved, but the Kota Arakawa would go on to take an easy victory by 4.4 seconds. And that means that the wild card has picked up 25 points. Andy Farid Izdahar picking up a very happy 20, but the victory quite comfortably to Kota Arakawa. And that is the scene here. Ahead of the Super Sport 600cc. This is the circuit. I was looking there, interestingly, the clouds have darkened a little bit. No rain threatened. If rain comes, it make this 14-bend circuit a real skating rink. All right, we're down on the grid where I believe Pauline Cheng has got one or two interviews lined up with the Super Sport 600 guys.
Okay, that's Barry. I'm back with the post with Kota Arakawa. We have something to ask because it's the first time he's using the tires from FIM ARRC. Arakawa 選手、どのタイヤパフォーマンスはどうですか？
まあリアタイヤはすごくベストな状態で持ってこれてるんですけど、フロントタイヤはまだうまく扱いきれていないので、そこが自分の弱いところなんですけど、そこをしっかり克服してレースができればいいなと思います。
Arigato and 頑張ります。Okay, guys, basically what he said is that he was impressed by how durable the tires were, and now we are heading over to the second rider that we would like to interview. This rider is pretty special. He comes from an impressive lineage of a riding family. Okay, we seem to be getting a little lost, so we're looking for him now. We may have overshot. Okay, guys, we're going to go to someone interesting here, to Moklada. Moklada, welcome back to FIM ARRC. Tell us, what have you been up to?
Yeah, today so happy and come back to in FIM ARRC. But me happy so every time but today I keep position and put I will to my best for the podium. Yeah.
And I am sure you will. I've seen you do it a million times. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm sorry, Barry. I'm sorry, Des. He doesn't want to be interviewed. That's it for me, signing off from the grid.
Mikey Abe, the guy who decided he didn't want to be interviewed, but we had an interesting tour around the grid. It is good to see behind the scenes sometimes. And Maglada Sarapwek, she was interviewed. Welcome back to Maglada. A P10 yesterday, Barry. Podium perhaps a little bit ambitious.
Yeah, it is ambitious, but she thinks she'll do better today. Of course she does, that's her nature.
Back onto the grid itself in P2 on the grid will be Andy Farid Idzahar. He's second in the championship standings, only 8 points adrift of Helmi Asman. His second place will have really helped him. This is Chip Nakarin. Again, it's a racer you've been following quite well. You follow the Thai racing scene in particular. He's not too far away from the championship standings, 65 points in P4.
Yeah, he's consistent. He struggled initially on this track. He has found his way round now. The question is whether he can match the pace of Andy Farid. I suspect nobody can match the pace of the man on pole. Kito Abe, he's an impressive newcomer to ARRC. Third yesterday, performed really well. He looks at home here. The 1XOX TKKR team are clearly looking after him well. Here's Azroy Hakim Anwar. Another rider that picks up points consistently.
He did. He missed the first round of the season due to quarantine problems. He wasn't allowed to race. Now here's the championship leader, Helmi Asman, who had to start from the pit lane yesterday. He'll be hoping to improve on that. He did manage to pick up 5 points. He's got 2 wins and a second place to his name so far this season. Helmi Asman holds an 8-point lead ahead of Andy Farid. Here's the quiet man, the man who wouldn't want to talk, as Maiki Abe for the WeBank team. I was looking forward to hearing his interview as well, seeing if Pauline could improve on her Japanese. That was pretty impressive. A Japanese-English interview from Pauline Cheng. The woman has many, many talents.
And that was the rider that Pauline was looking for, in fact, Ratapong Willarot, because his lineage is Ratapark, his older brother, and Christmas Willarot, a multiple champion, competed at Macau GP and so on. So that was Ratapong, former champion, of course. And there's Muklada, maturing nicely as a racer, I think.
Yeah, Maglada, P10 yesterday.
And Galanghendra.
So everybody has moved up 1 place on the grid, is that right? Because Ratapong is out. Okay, Galanghendra's moved up. I'm trying to work out who is the absentee.
Well, the absentee is Ibrahim
Is Ibrahim Noradin, of course.
Yeah, because he took a knock to the head. We've both spoken to him today. He seems fine, but we have to be careful with head injuries.
Karolidan Paui will be hoping that he can get some consistency on his Bunchu Honda. He's not had the best of returns to the Asian Road Racing Championships, or the most successful. And Fairozi, who had a tremendously successful time on the smaller bikes in Indonesia last season. Again, he's capable of producing the odd result, but he's had 4 0 points in this season. 2 DNSs, 2 DNFs, and 1 7-point.
Yeah, hopefully he can get used to these bigger bikes.
Amatara Ito is the absentee. That's the absentee. Okay. That's why they've all moved up 1 in the grid. Okay, so we'll run through the starting grid in just a moment as the guys go onto the formation lap. Guys and girls, I should say, because Maglada Sarapwek will certainly be involved as well. And keen to see how Helmi Asman does. He was quickly off the start line there, just to prove how eager it is. Row 1 will be Kota Arakawa, yesterday's wildcard winner, alongside Andy Farid Izdahar, second in the championship standings, and Chip Nakarin, Honda Racing Time.
Leading the second row, Kito Abe, Azroy Hakim Anwar next to him. and Helmi Asman, who needs to respond to yesterday's misfortune.
Third row of the grid in the absence of Motoharu Ito. Mikey Abe moves into P7. Ratapong moves up to P8. He'll be looking some points. Muklada Sarapach, wildcard, racing in the All Japan. She's P9.
And on row 4, we've got Galanghendra Pratama, Irfan Ardiansia, and Karol Idem Pawi.
Yeah, Karol Idem Pawi moves up to P12. That means on the 5th row of the grid, Gofarosi Torkatila, Randan Rosley, who didn't finish yesterday. He'll just be looking to finish the race for the one XOXTK racing team. Kritchapon, and then we've got Kondanai Kurdiao, one of the Thais, who's had a tough old time so far this season, although he has picked up points in every race this season.
Yeah, he is a rookie, a privateer, so his team, let's say, is not quite as well resourced as the others, but he's getting some good experience in this class, and experience that will help him in the national championships in Thailand.
Supersport 600cc around the 3.6 kilometer Sugo International Circuit, fabulous circuit. The riders will be delighted that the rain is still staying away, although it is getting a little bit cooler and a little bit darker. I'm not saying that the rain is coming, but it's threatened for 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. But it did suddenly appear out of nowhere yesterday, so I've always got an eye on it, and it looked grey, ominously grey there. Right, let's get underway. But there's the man, Arakawa. He's had a really, really good time the whole period he's been at Sugo, being the dominant racer at Supersport 600.
Yeah, he's literally been peerless here, and he is leading the All Japan Stock 600 Championship too.
It's a 15-lap race. Just waiting for the back markers to make their way through. It's Kondanai Kurdiao who's looking to get on board. I'm particularly keen to see how Helmi Asman, bike 32 from the 2nd row of the grid, extreme left of that shot, to see how he's able to get away on the Bunchu Honda. He had such a torrid time yesterday, just happy to pick up the 5 points. So 15 laps, red lights go out, and we are underway, and it's a solid start from the front row of the grid from Arakawa, but Andy Farid once again has made a decent move, and Andy Farid it is who will lead going down the hill for the very first time, but Arakawa has recovered from that poorish start and is right on his back tail.
Yeah, that was a good start from Andy Farid. I think Karol Idem Pawi came through quickly. I think that was a good start from him. We'll see when we get a closer look.
Spectator getting in the way of that fabulous camera shot. She'll be ushered out of the way by the time we come around next, but at the moment it is Andy Farid Izdahar, or Andy Gilang as he's popularly known, back in Indonesia. He's an experienced campaigner. They come down one of the many hills. He's got Arakawa behind him, Chip Nakarin, who got off to a half-decent start as well. He's in P3. Now then, Helmi Asman made a decent start, the bike number 32 in P4, although about to lose out to bike number 26, Maiki Abe.
Oh, and there's an engine gone.
An engine has gone. It's one of the TKKR. Is it just exhaust?
I don't think so.
It's not looking healthy.
And he's still on. He doesn't know about it.
I just hope he's not dropping oil on the track.
That's the concern.
It is the TKKR. He still doesn't know, does he? That exhaust is blowing, blowing, blowing.
Well, that's a worry. We need to get the mechanical flag out for him, as Andy Farid and Kota make their way at the front. Little gap on Chip Nakarin.
And it's
Kito Abe a little bit further back than we'd like to see. Yeah, there's concern in the 1XOX garage.
very much so, because it's still blowing and he still doesn't know.
Oh, that's Kito Abe.
It is Kito Abe, bike number 51, and he's going backwards as well.
This is difficult.
So Kito Abe,
He might be feeling just a slight loss of power, but he won't really know what's going on behind him.
we're just really concerned that because he's done 2 laps now, if he is dripping oil, but there's no look of it at the moment, though. While we're looking at Abe, who's just about to be overtaken by bike 26, Maike Abe.
Helmi Asman's coming. He was fastest in...
Oh, that really is
that
going now.
engine's gone, yeah.
He still doesn't know.
They need the officials need to jump on this.
No flags out there. At the front, Andy Farid is still able to go, but we are fascinated by Mikey Abe and what damage, if any, he is doing, because he's actually taken a place back coming up through the chicane. Quito, yeah, Quito is being pulled in. There's the message for him.
Yeah.
And then at last the flags come out, and bike 51 is being called in. Can he see it? Arakawa in P2 at the moment. Just got to see what happens to Quito Abe. He's still carried on. I'm not sure he's seen those signs, Barry Russell.
I don't think he did. I don't think he saw it.
So for all the gesticulations, the black and orange flag is being waved, but Abe will not know that that's for him.
And that's the other Abe right behind him.
Yes,
Oh,
now he knows.
knows.
Now he knows. But that is 3 laps, and we just hope there's no oil left on the track. It doesn't seem to be.
Well, you did see his rear tyre slide then, and then I think he twigged that that was why the orange and black flag was being waved.
So the 1 XOX TKR team, that's a difficult time for him, and the other Abe, Mikey Abe, he gets up a place, up into P7. All the while, we've been watching that Abe battle. Up front, Andy Farid is the heart, has just been leading Kota Arakawa. Arakawa at one stage was half a second down, but now he's got right back onto the back wheel of the Indonesian.
Yeah, we're used to it from Andy Farid, Andy Gilang. This is racing grit that we're seeing here. He may not be able to hold off Kota, but he will give it his best, absolutely best shot.
Arakawa, a wild card here, so in terms of the overall championship, it doesn't hurt too much if Arakawa takes the victory, but I tell you what, he'd like not to take the victory as Arakawa accelerates down, but Andy Farid tries to take the initiative, but there Arakawa just has too much power. Andy Farid, there is the back wheel, and there is the lean of Arakawa.
He blocked him. He was looking to switch back on the inside, but Kota was onto it.
And that's good news for the man in third place, Helmi Asman, bike number 32. Had such a tough time yesterday. The last thing he will have wanted was to see Andy Farid Izdihad disappear over the horizon. And now Helmi Asman can say, all right, now I've got a chance. P3 for Helmi Asman. Chip Nakarin in P4.
Yeah, Helmi lapping quicker than Kota.
131.6s consistently. Kota 131.2s. Here's his best lap, 131.9 last time out. Going very, very wide there was Chip Nakarin. He will lose a place there to Azroy Hakim. So it's the Bunchu Hondas in P3 and P4 now. And Chip Nakarin, who had a very, very good start and was competing for the lead in the first lap, is now down to P5. But Arakawa, as he did yesterday, he won by 4.5 seconds yesterday, Barry. And once he gets in front, you do fear that Andy Farid won't be able to live with him.
Yeah, you're just going to see some more Indonesian grit and see what he can do about it. He hasn't given up by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm impressed with the way Helmi has come back from his setback yesterday.
Kota has just blasted a 130.8 lap. That's the fastest so far. That's Andy is desperately trying to keep on his tail. Great camera on board.
I don't think Helmi's got the pace to catch up these two, but he does seem to be getting a little bit of an advantage on teammate Azroy and Chip Nakarin behind him.
In terms of the overall championship standings, Ibrahim Noureddin was P3 in the championship standings, but he had a crash in qualifying yesterday. Wasn't allowed to compete yesterday, wasn't allowed to compete today. It's a concussion problem. And much as he'd like to compete, the doctors have said no can do. So Ibrahim Noureddin will not pick up any points from this weekend. Chip Nakarin picked up P4 yesterday. At the moment, he's in P5. So Helmi Asman has got a bit of work to do to maintain his lead up at the top of the standings.
Yeah, Kota best lap to him, not surprisingly.
Inside 131, the only one doing that.
And nobody else has got the pace, and Andy Farid is clearly quicker than everybody else, including Helmi, who's gamely chasing. He can't get away from his teammate there, Azroy.
Coming to the end of lap number 5 for the Bunchu Hondas. There's a personal pride at stake for Helmy. Well, holding on to P3 would be a decent return for him, but as you can see, Azraoui Hakim followed him up the hill, and Azraoui Hakim is not going to follow any team orders here. This is back up at the front. We are on board with Andy Farid Izdihar in P2, but Kota Arakawa seems to just be pulling away. What's the differential? It's only 0.2 of a second at the moment, but visually it just seems though Arakawa is being able to accelerate away from Andy Farid.
Yeah, and he can't quite get close enough to bother him. But Azraoui is getting close enough to bother Helmy. Further down the field, there's a civil war in Thailand going on between Mukladar and Ratapong. Mukladar's got the upper hand of that for now as we come back to Helmy and Azraoui.
This is a battle of Malaysia, a battle of Boonchu Honda, who for so long in Supersport 600 were the preeminent team. And Azraoui Hakim goes through into P3. That will not please Helmy. That will cost Helmy potentially difficult championship points. So Azraoui Hakim, bike number 20, goes in ahead of bike number 32, Helmy Asman. Up at the front, Arakawa visually is just getting further and further ahead on the same corner, but a good drive out from Kota Arakawa. Tries us to use every millimetre of the track, does Andy Farid Izdihar. He's just having to use all the knowledge he earned on the world scene. But going through at the end of lap number 6, the differential is 0.3 of a second.
Great quality from both these riders, you have to say. Kota does look so relaxed, a little bit reminiscent perhaps of Haruki Noguchi, who we'll be seeing not too long.
That's still to come in the 1000 cc's. Hint of a mistake there. That might allow Andy just to get back onto the wheel. Andy Farid just needs to keep some pressure on Kota Arakawa. He certainly can't afford to let the Motobum Honda team racer get too far away. Chip Nakarin in P5 in splendid isolation behind the two Boonchu Hondas. Chip Nakarin on the Honda Racing Thailand, riding the CBR 600 RR.
And Andy closer at this stage in the race than he was yesterday.
Yeah. It is more of a race than yesterday. It was a procession, but no, just look at that. Visually, I'm wincing every time because you're looking for a really good contested race. And Andy Farid is just having to work his utmost just to stay close onto the back wheel of Arakawa.
Yeah, he can get close through the chicane. It's two very well prepared Hondas there. Nothing between them as they go up the hill.
Last lap a 130.7, this lap a 130.9. So lapping very, very quickly, and to Andy Farid's credit, he's just lapped a 130.8, so he is keeping pace.
Yeah, that's a really good job of harassment. Needs to keep it up.
Harassment, quite right. Good use of the word, I like it. It's not our given word of the day, but harassment gets a vote from me. And Arakawa leads the way. Andy Farid in P2. The Malaysian battle is in the one for P3, where Azraoui Hakim leads Helmy. Then you've got Nakarin from Thailand in P5. Galang Hendra ahead of Abe for P6. Irfan ahead of Muklada and Ratapong for P8. Karoli Dempawi struggling in P11.
Yeah, it looks like Mukladar's got the better of Ratapong. Interesting. Karoli Dempawi still not able to put a good race together here.
Yeah, that's bike number 89, P11 at the moment. We're just focusing on the lead at the front though. And again, it looks like Arakawa's getting away, and then Andy Farid's able to pull something back. It was 0.2 of a second. It's been regularly 0.2, 0.3 of a second at the end of each lap, but there's never been any real hint that Andy Farid's close enough to get to overtake Kota Arakawa.
A little bit longer here. This is probably about 0.4 maybe.
0.388, not bad, just 100th of a second out. Work on your maths, please, Mr. Barry Russell.
I'm sorry.
Further down, these are the battles for the lower places. Ratapong and Muklada.
And Galang and Mikey
Abe. So Galang Hendra's got himself of Arbe. Galang's got himself up to P6. For Yamaha Racing Indonesia, he's not really been at the top in the Supersport 600, but we know Galang Hendra's got real ability, real talent. In 250s a few years ago, he was had a terrific season.
Absolutely, he did, and well, he's getting to grips with these 600s now. He's in good company now, by which I'm referring in part at least to Maiki Abe's uncle. I'm just trying to read what that meant.
Behind them, you can see Muklada Sarapek in the all-red, bike number 44. She's riding on the All-Japan circuit so far. And she is just coming into vision. Never. Because there she is. There's Muklada. Thank you, Mr. Director.
Yeah, she's really on it, isn't she? And her team manager, I spoke to a few days ago, he's really happy with her progress. Impressed, and it's good to see her on the 600s and establishing herself on the 600s.
A little bit further down, a chance to see if Caroline Powie is able to make any kind of manoeuvre as they come up the hill. That's the battle for P3. Helmi Asman in P4 at the moment. Chip Nakarin in 5. 6 is Galang Hendra ahead of Arbe and Muklada, bike 44. Then you've got Ratapong and Irfan Ardiansa in the easy-to-pick-out pink helmet. After Irfan, you've got Carol Idampawi as Ratapong Willerot goes through. Ratapong, he must be so frustrated to be in the middle of the pack. And there is Carol Idampawi, Kip as they call him. This is a good little battle, this one, between Arbe and Galang Hendra.
Yeah, and Muklada's about to join them, I predict.
Yes, she's not too far away, is she?
Yeah, it's pretty close there. She has gapped Ratapong. I'm not sure if he's got the pace to follow her up to that little group.
Some big names here, Muklada and Ratapong on the Brick Championship. As the fog hits, I tell you what, this weather is so changeable. It's fog at the moment, which doesn't necessarily mean rain, but it could mean a problem as Irfan Ardiansa goes inside Carol Idampawi. That will terrify the superbike racers who are coming up next.
Yes, they'll be taking a good look at that. They will have forgotten about the 600 race. That happened to me once at Brands Hatch, fog down.
Yes, okay, so up at the front, Arakawa has got himself a lead again. It's only 0.275. Andy Farid he's doing a fine job on sticking close-ish. You can see how hard he's having to work, though. He's really working that bike. He's right down low. Trusting those tyres. It's amazing how much they trust the tyres, but the Dunlop tyres, the guys down below us in the commentary area, they're working hard.
Well, there was a good question asked by Pauline there on the grid. She asked him about the change from Bridgestone to Dunlop tyres, which do have very different characteristics. And he seemed pretty urbane about it, but Andy Farid, of course, is used to them. We're in the stage of the race now where that might make the difference.
Wow, look at that. Andy Farid has got on the inside of Kota Arakawa. Who would have thunk that? Andy Farid is now the new race leader. 10 laps to go, 2/3 of the way through the race. Now, is that because he's been able to look after his tyres, and maybe Kota Arakawa, because he's been under pressure, has been wearing them?
That was what my little story was about just then, Des.
Indeed.
It was very polite of him.
Indeed. Superbly timed. So, Andy Farid is the heart for the first time as he comes up the hill, will lead. Regularly he's been 0.3, 0.4, 0.2 down. This time he's going to be leading by what, Barry Russell? Let's test your maths again.
By 0.15.
0.27
miles out.
Lousy. Full 10th out. But Andy Farid is the heart for Astra Honda Racing, is leading the way. Behind them, Azri Hakim is giving Helmi Asman no love.
Oh, sorry, Des. Well, will be...
This is the battle for P6, sorry. Galang Hendra leading Arbe, and you called it right. Muklada Sarapek has pulled in, and she might not get a podium, but she might get double-digit points for a P6 here, because she's really putting the pressure on the back of both Arbe and Galang Hendra.
Yeah, good work from Muklada, and what I was about to speculate on was after going through this first technical section of the track, whether Andy might be able to open up a bit more of a gap. That looks a bit healthier. That's about 0.3, Des.
That's about 0.3. We will test you for quiz later. Barry Russell with the mathematical calculations, but Andy Farid is the heart. Well, with the racecraft at the moment, and he's got to make the calculation of how much to gamble against Kota Arakawa.
Arakawa's going to try to slingshot out of here and get back past him. Get a toe from Andy Farid. Andy was quick out of the chicane though.
He does, he's done that pretty well, Andy Farid is the heart. He's got himself again in P1. The lead was 2.7 or 0.27 last time. It's slightly tighter, but not so as you'd really notice, but it'd like to be 1.187 ahead in 3 laps time. There's a lot of work for him to do between now and then though.
Yeah, let's watch them through these turns. See if we can have some idea of whether tyres are a factor or to what extent they're a factor.
They are slowing down a little bit. 1:31.2 was the last lap for Andy Farid. When the tyres were absolutely at their optimum, they were down to the mid 130s, so a full 0.7 of a second better.
I don't think this is tyre management. I think this is more about racecraft and grit from Andy Farid.
Oh, you used the word grit very, very early on. That's not the word of the day either. But Andy Farid is holding on. Just takes a nice line through. I suppose what he's got to do is he's got to get Kota Arakawa to make a gamble.
Kota thinks he deserves this, and look at this.
McLarder up to P6, and then loses it to P7. Just went a little bit wide. Oh, but able to pick that one back up again.
She hasn't finished.
Back up at the front. It'll be 2 laps to go once they get up to the top of the hill. As they race up the hill, it's a fabulous ending to this lap, this 3.62 kilometer lap at Sugo. But the power is there for Andy Farid, and he holds on to that lead. It's 0.2 of a second still. Azri Hakim holding on to P3. He's not really focused on that one because this is so scintillating in itself. But Azri Hakim and Helmi Azman in P3 are having a good old battle. Nakarin will finish 5, but McLarder and Arbe are having a good old battle themselves.
Yeah, look at our fancies. Top 6 finish, that's for sure. This man, Andy Farid, fancies the win. Break up the symmetry of Arakawa's weekend.
But I think Arakawa fancies the win as well.
Oh, he does, he expects it.
Did Andy Farid show his hand a little bit too early? Arakawa looks on the inside, but Andy Farid closes that gate very successfully. Nice and tight, like on rail tracks, and low down, scraping the surface.
Yeah, he can afford to be defensive because it's so far back to Azroy.
Well, they're getting, looking to lap somebody.
And there he goes.
Kondanai is a long way back. Arakawa!
What a clever move that was.
Wow, on the chicane.
Brilliant work by Kota.
And now Andy Farid has got it all to do because we are coming into the final lap. He accelerates and gets a toe up the hill and takes the inside line. We have got and Andy Farid pushes too much, and Kota Arakawa will be able just to sail home for the victory. It was brilliant from Andy Farid, but he just pushed too much and slid off having made the manoeuvre.
So that puts Azroy up,
Azroy up into P2, Helmi Azman up into P3, but it's now a victory lap for Kota Arakawa. Is he go? Oh, that's not going to get back on either.
Yeah, that's toasted.
Desperately trying to get back on.
So here he goes. He's trying to get inside and hold it, but he can't. And I tell you what, Des is very lucky that he didn't take out Arakawa at the same time. That really was lucky.
Slid off.
For Andy Farid.
Yeah.
He gave it everything.
But Arakawa, he just put the pressure on that overtaking manoeuvre at the chicane. He was under real pressure 1 lap ago. This time he can enjoy it. It's a double win. It's a maximum 50 points as a wild card for Kota Arakawa from Motobum Honda, and he will take this by a country mile and enjoys the double win. Behind them, Andy Farid will not come in P number 2. He slid out. We're looking, coming over the hill in P2 will be Azroy Hakim, and he's got in there ahead of Helmi Asman. It was tight between the two Malaysians, but Bunchu Honda celebrate a 2-3. Helmi Asman 16 points, and Helmi will increase his lead over Andy Farid at the top of the championship standings.
Great, that really did hand it to Helmi Asman. Helmi rode a good race. He wasn't on Andy's pace, but he stayed there, and when Andy gave it a bit too much, he was there to pick up the pieces. Very good for the championship. And Muqtada did indeed get into the top 5. She finished behind her compatriot and sometime teammate Macarena Tirapuvapat. Muqtada finished in 5th, ahead of Maiki Abe, and him just ahead of Galang Hendra, and then Ratapong as well-deserved celebration. What a spectacle he's given us this weekend. Thank you, Kota Arakawa.
Again, the chicane, though, was pivotal. He made the manoeuvre that really put the pressure on Andy Farid Izdaha. And Andy Farid, having got back into the lead, just couldn't hold it on corner number 1. It goes downhill, and as he went downhill, his back end just left him. You're quite right, he could easily have taken out Arakawa on that last lap, but he didn't, and Arakawa can celebrate a 50-point weekend.
Yeah, so that will have him featuring on the front page of the championship standings for probably until the end of the season. Very nice work. I hope we see him again.
Naka in 13, Muqtada, a very, very good P5, and Abe finishing in 6th, Maiki Abe.
Yeah, and Galang Hendra, decent finish for him.
Ratapong in P8, Carolyn Powie 9, Irfan Ardiansa 10, Fairozi Krichapon, Ramdan Rosley, at least he's finished. He'll be happy to pick up some points. Kito Abe, he was out. Kondanai was lapped.
Yeah.
There is our race winner. Back-to-back wins.
And there was Helmi Asman, obviously feeling like a winner, thanks to the championship position. He came in with a strong lead, and now it's stronger. It's a well-deserved celebration. Bravo, Moto Bum, you've done a good job. There he is again.
And again, Bunchu Honda, they seem pretty happy with the return there. A P2 and a P3, particularly for Helmi, after yesterday having the clutch problem that caused him to start from the pit lane. He managed to rescue 5 points yesterday. He's got 16 points this weekend. So Andy Farid dropping out, got 20 points this weekend. Helmi got himself 21. So Kota Arakawa taking it. 10 seconds clear of Azroy Hakim from Helmi Asman, the championship leader. Chip Nakarin, Muqtada Sarapwech, the Thai wildcard in P5. Maiki Abe ahead of Galang Hendra on the Yamaha in P7. Ratapong Willerot again in mid-table on the Yamaha. Bunchu Honda's Carolyn Powie picking up P9, 20 seconds adrift. Irfan Ardiansa and Fairozi completing 10 and 11. Krichapon 39 seconds adrift ahead of Ramdan Rosley. Andy Farid Izdaha, to his credit, got it back up and finished the race nearly 50 seconds adrift. So he'll pick up some points anyway, 2 points. Kondanai was 1 lap down. Kito Abe was called out and had to retire.
What a race. Plenty of drama and more to come. And you can see the spectators of, these are obviously regulars. There are certain places around where you see the photographers and a little bunch of locals as well.
Highlights from the Supersport 600cc race number 2 at the Sugo International Circuit, and a really good start for Andy Farid Izdaha to get up underway, but our focus very much in the early stages on Abe, who riding for the 1XY TKR racing team for 2.5 laps had some engine problems, and eventually he was called out, and that left us to watch a thrilling battle up at the front between Andy Farid Izdihar, biker number 27, and the eventual winner, Kota Arakawa. The Japanese in the lead for a long time, Andy Farid holding on. Behind them, Helmi Azman in bike number 32. He'd have a tough time holding on to P3 as he is at the moment. He'd eventually finish P3, but only after a lot of drama later on. That's important for bike number 32, Helmi Azman, because he increases lead at the top of the championship standings. But Barry Russell, talk to me about the race going on up at the front.
It was a really, I'm going to use it again, but the adjective form, gritty performance from Andy Farid. He didn't give up. We didn't think he had the pace to get close enough, but he did. He got in front, but was usurped on the penultimate time round at the chicane. And I think this might be it. We're going to see now. No, not this time.
So that's when Andy Farid got himself into the lead, and for the next 3 laps or so, Kota Arakawa was chasing. Maglada Sarapwek, to her credit, got herself up into a position, not in a podium, but she would eventually win that little battle with Mikey Abe. Up at the front, though, this, I think, is the big moment we're going to see.
This was a magnificent move, you have to say, through the chicane by Arakawa. A little piece of sorcery there, Des. And Andy Farid chased him up the hill, slipstreamed him, got inside, and then it got really scary. He couldn't turn it, he slid off. Arakawa just missed him, and he was left to just cruise around the final lap.
Sorcery winning the day as Kota Arakawa makes it a double. Our sympathies to Andy Farid Izdihar. He did get 2 points, but our winner for the second time this weekend is that man, number 54, Kota Arakawa, for the Motorbom Honda team. As the fog comes in, does the fog bring rain? Does the fog worry us? Does the fog terrify the guys in the superbikes?
Hopefully it won't come down any further.
Firstly, we've got some interviews, and we'll got the prize presentation. Congratulations to Bunshu Honda and Helmi Azman, who will increase his lead up at the top of the championship standings with 4 more races to go. Najri Hakim Anwar not showing his compatriot an awful lot of love there. But he'll be happy himself to pick up his second podium of the season, move himself on to 55 points. But there is your race winner, Kota Arakawa. It certainly wasn't easy, and it's tough for Andy Farid Izdihar that he's not sharing the podium with him. But that last lap error was costly for Andy Farid and just handed the victory to Kota Arakawa. We'll get the presentations after the Japanese national anthem. Trophies and helmets by the president of the Motorcycle Association of Japan, Tetsuo Suzuki, and MFJ, who have their own championship standings. Helmi Asman, who will have a 20-plus points overall championship lead. Azroy Hakim's second podium moves to absentees due to quarantine issues in Buriram. Have cost him dearly in this 10-race season. It means he had no points for 2. But there is Kota Adakawa, wild card. But he'll move on to 50 points.
Thank you, Mr. Suzuki. Next, we invite Mr. Stefan Karapiak, FIM Asia President, to present the team.
Stefan Karapiak, the president of the FIM, will hand out the team award. It's been a good job by the Motorbom Honda team.
Now we invite the presenters to join the riders for a group photo.
Confirmation, Supersport 600 podium for race number 2. Kota Adakawa taking it ahead by Azroy Hakim, Anwar and Helmi Asman. Commiserations to Andy Farid Izdaha, who battled hard but in the end crashed out going into the final lap. And he'll pick up 2 consolation points. Then he'll be 22 points adrift in the overall championship standings, which we'll see in just a moment. As the fog comes in, Helmi Asman, 104 points, leads by 22 points from Andy Farid Izdaha from Astra Honda Racing. Chip Nakarin moves to within 4 points of Andy Farid. That's a good result for the tie. Karel Idampawi on 69, picks up points relentlessly. Ibrahim Noruddin, an absentee today, an injured absentee on 67. Irfan Ardianta. Azroy Hakim moves on to 55 alongside Galang Hendra Pratama for Yamaha Racing Indonesia. 50 points for Kota Adakawa in P9. Double win for the wildcard. Ratapong Willerot. He's had to work really hard for his 38 points. Krichapon and Kondanai equal 11th on 24. Maklada very happy with her 17-point weekend for the Estemo SI Racing with Thai Honda team. Maiki Abe and Kito Abe were there. Okay, so the fog is coming in. Barry Russell, how ominous is this for the big boys, for the superbikes?
I just had a peep outside, Des, and it looks like it's affecting the top level of the course.
Well, we'll find out a little bit more, but first some interviews from the Supersport 600. Let's go down to Pauline Cheng.
Congratulations, Helmi, a great performance today. Tell us about your weekend.
Yes, firstly I want to say syukur alhamdulillah and thank you so much to my team, Bunsio Honda Racing team, also my family and the fans of Malaysia. So yes, this race is first time for me because yesterday I started from pit lane because some trouble with my front brake. So yes, for this race I just maintain position because Andy also Arakawa very fast. Yeah, and when last lap, I need to overtake Azroy, and I saw Andy already crash in first turn, so I just keep my position and I tried to overtake Azroy, but he also overtake me in the chicken. So yes, finally I just third position is very important for my point.
Yes, and actually the good news is you're still the championship leader. So how does that play into the next round?
Yes, for next round I will try to push because in Sepang to run. So because here also Ibrahim not joined us to race, but Ibrahim also strong in Sepang. So I need to prepare myself also in Sepang. So I have a good momentum for next round.
Thank you, Helmi. Congratulations. Azroy, congratulations on the podium finish. Were there team orders?
First, I want to say syukur alhamdulillah. Thanks to my team, Bunsio Honda, for preparing the good bike today, and also to my family, my friends, and to my wife. So, especially in the race, Arakawa and Andy very fast. So I just maintain my position and fight with Helmi. Then I pass him maybe in the middle race. So I just push myself, and until last lap, Helmi pass me, and I say no, I want to win. Not first, but second is okay because I see Andy crash. So yeah, I'm happy for today, and this is the beginning. So I want try more than this.
Great effort, Asteroid. Thank you. Arakawa 選手、おめでとうございます。A double win at Suzuka。このレース、どうでしたか？
そうですね、やっぱり後ろの選手がついてくることが予想されてて、でやっぱりついてきたので、逃げ切れるなら逃げ切りたかったんですけど、それができなかったのが、ちょっと一つ自分の中で悔しいんですけど、また違う課題を、勝負して勝つっていう課題をクリアできたのが、今回のレースですごい得られたいいことだったのかなと思います。チームの皆様、サポートしてくれた方々、スポンサーの方々のおかげでこうしてレースができているので、すごく感謝の気持ちでいっぱいです。ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, and again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Kota Arakawa with a double race win, but the championship lead belongs to Helmi Asman as we head off in the Super Sports to the Sepang event on the 8th and 9th of October. The fog is coming in. How will this affect the Superbikes? That is up next. The the Superbikes Championship is coming up. The 1000 cc's after the break. I'm nervous as well. Do join us in 2 minutes' time. You're watching the Asian Road Racing Championship from Sugo in Japan.